So these are the exact same numbers, just in different orders. So here, what do you notice that's in between all of these? A plus sign. So we have a plus sign in between all these numbers, so, or these integers, we'll say. So we're adding. Now, we see that our answers are either 10, 2, negative 10, or negative 2. So the numbers are just 10 and 2. Now the question is, why are some of the numbers 10? Why are some of the numbers 2? Any thoughts? Yes, ma'am. Yeah, looked like you were trying to. All right, some of them were adding and some of them were subtracting. But if I look at this, they're all adding. So why is it that some of these I have to subtract, specifically these guys right in the middle? So what makes you think that you have to subtract them?
Because there's a negative.
Well, these have negatives and we still added the numbers. So my question is this. How do we know whether to add or to subtract?
Okay. So what I did was, I did it in a little bit of a different way, but is that fine?
I don't care.
Okay, which one do you want me to do?
Well, I don't care which one. I want to know in general.
Okay.
There's one little thing you just need to know. How do I know if I need to add or subtract?
So, if you look right there, like, okay, so you see where the 6 is?
I see all those 6s, yes.
No, like, okay, so you see the negative and, do you see the negative sign?
Okay, like this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For example, that one. So what I did was I used the negative and I turned the plus into a negative, because anytime you have a negative and a plus sign,
Okay.
you switch it.
So you're looking at this and say, if you look at this, different ones, it's just going to be negative. So you're thinking this is the same as this.
Yes. And then what I did was, so I looked at it as like money.
Okay.
So I looked at it as if I owe negative 4
So you owe 4,
and I owe 6,
and here you're owing 6.
then I need to figure out how much I owe in total.
Okay, so that means you end up owing 10. And O just means negative 10. Oh, good. Very good. So basically what she's doing is this. When she sees these two signs together, that's just confusing. She's like, I don't want to have two signs. I just like to have a sign and then a number. So she just looks at that and says, well, you know what? These are just opposites. So basically this is adding. So what's the opposite of adding?
Subtracting.
So it just basically turns out when you have these two together, it turns into a subtracting problem. Then you just read it as, I owe 4, I owe 6, I owe 10. You can even do the same thing here. You could look at this and say, I owe 4 and I owe 6. If you owe somebody $4, you owe somebody else $6, you're going to end up owing $10. Good. Yes?
I thought of it like this, because two negatives make a positive, right?
Yes?
And a negative and a positive, they just don't work together. So when it's a positive and a negative, you subtract because they don't go well together.
Ah.
And then two negatives make a positive, so then you add.
Oh, I like how she looks at that. She looks at something like this. So these guys, two negatives, the idea is like two negatives make a positive. Again, the idea of multiplying. But she's taking it a little bit differently. She's saying, well, I just have to add them. So the key idea, basically, what she has is this. If the signs are different, you subtract. If the signs are different, you subtract. If the signs are the same, you add. If the signs are the same, you add.
That sounds like really cool.
So the idea, if you have the same sign, that means you add. But the thing is this. If you have different signs, then you subtract. If you look at here, that's a negative, that's a positive. They cancel. Well, how'd you say that again?
They just can't work.
They can't work together, so it's like subtracting. So it's like she has a story to go along with these. These guys don't work well together, so they just kind of tear each other apart. Or just think the signs are different, you subtract. Signs are different, you subtract. Now the thing is, how do you know which sign to keep? Here, this is a negative 2. Here, that's a positive 2. Here's a negative 10. Here's a how do you know which sign to keep? Yes, ma'am.
Because it says subtract, like when it shows a negative on like the second one, when it says 6 plus negative 4, it says subtract 4.
true, but how do I know the answer is a negative 2? Here, how do I know the answer is a positive 2? What tells you, or what shows you whether one's positive or negative? We're going to take a break here because the phone's ringing. How do I know if my answer is going to be a negative or a positive? Yes, ma'am. Just keep the sign. We'll say keep the bigger sign. That's it. Whatever number's bigger, you keep the sign. Which is bigger, 6 or 4? 6. In all these cases, it's 6. So you always keep that sign. You could just say, well, they're the same, so it stays the same. Yeah, but nice quick way to remember it. Just look at the bigger number, keep it sign. Boom. Look at the bigger number, keep it sign. Boom. Look at the bigger number, keep it sign. Boom. Look at the bigger number, keep it sign. Boom. So again, we have 4s and 6s. We still have 10s and 2s, but it looks like this is a little different because if I look here, I have a negative 6 and a negative 4, but here it's a negative 2. If I look at this problem, over here I have a negative 6 and a negative 4, but this is a negative 10. Why is this one different from this one? Yes?
Because this one says to subtract and that one says to add.
All right, so we have subtracting and we have adding. Now, how are we going to make this? Because this just looks confusing. And yes.
Okay, so what I did was, so you see the negative sign,
Mm-hmm.
minus sign. Since they're both together, you change it to an addition.
Oh, okay. So again, when it comes to negative, that just means take the opposite. So negatives and minuses just means take the opposite. What's the opposite of a negative? So if you were to rearrange this, you can change this problem to be negative 6 plus 4. I could change this to be 6 plus 4. No need to worry here. Over here, this is 4 plus 6. This is negative 4 plus 6. So you do the same thing then. Negative 6, you owe somebody 6, but you have $4 in your pocket. So you give them the $4, but you still owe $2. Here, same idea. You owe somebody $6. You owe somebody else $4. You owe a total of $10. So when it comes to these problems, so this is basically the same thing as adding. The only tricky part is if you would have something like say, negative 8 minus a negative 7. The only tricky part is when you have two minus signs. So if that happens, just say to yourself, well, this just means take the opposite of this. And what's the opposite of this? Plus. So you rearrange this to become a negative 8 plus 7. Now you just have a number with a sign, a number with a sign. And you look at that, you owe somebody $8. You have $7, which means you'll still owe them $1. Now if you want to say you want to take this as a word problem, say this. You owe somebody $8. You owe somebody else $7. But that other person says, you know what? I know you owe me $7, but I'm going to be nice. I'm going to take away whatever you owe me. So if you're taking away whatever you owe, that means they basically gave you $7, isn't it? So keep that in mind too. If you're taking away, or if somebody's taking away whatever you owe them, they're basically saying, I'm giving you that much. That's the way you can think of it that way. All right. But then when it gets back, go back to this, it doesn't really matter. You owe 4, you have 6. That means you'll have 2. All right. So the idea is the same. The key idea for this one, if you see this and this, turns into just a plain old this. So this guy right here turns into that. And then just do the same as adding quote unquote integers. All right. I hope this lesson on integers was very enlightening to you. If you'd like to learn more about mathematics, please click on this video right over here. It's a very fun video. If you've seen this one or you don't want to watch it, try this one down here. It's also fun and exciting. And don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, and hit that bell icon so that way you get a notification every single time a video comes onto the ether.